How's it going, everybody? This is the Nitty Gritty. My name is Chad. With me, as usual, is Leonard. This is a show about wrestling, and we do a thing here called Unstable Stables. And what we do here is we take a group, usually a faction, but maybe not. Maybe it's just a big group of people, like a family, and we take every person associated with said faction, stable, or family, and we divide them into teams. One team for Leonard, one team for myself, and then we assemble a makeshift fantasy card and determine who the ultimate champion of said family or faction might be. And we've done a lot of different types of groups over the years, but lately we've been focusing on families, and this week we are going to be covering the Von Erich family. And Leonard gave us this idea. Leonard, what made you think of the Von Erich family?
Well, just kind of thinking of different, families. We've covered the Samoan dynasty or the bloodline. We've done the Harts, we've done the Guerreros, and just the Von Erichs came to mind. And then looking, there are more Von Erichs and kayfabe Von Erichs and close associates to the Von Erichs than one would think. So, and we've got one more family in the queue. We'll leave that a mystery. That was kind of similar. There were more connections there than I would have thought. It was just like, well, let me look it up and see where the family tree goes. So, of course, the Von Erichs are most closely associated with World Classic Championship Wrestling out of the Dallas, Texas area. I don't know what other, intro or info you had on the Von Erichs you wanted to give before I go over the draft board.
Yep, let's get started. So, Fritz Von Erich is the patriarch. He was born in 1929 as Jack Adkisson. Yeah, make sure I said that right.
I believe, yes.
His debut as a pro wrestler was 1953. He used his mother's maiden name of Erich and added the Von himself. He and his wife Doris had 6 kids, all sons. Their story has been documented in Dark Side of the Ring, in the WWE produced documentary, The Triumph and Tragedy of WCCW, and of course the film The Iron Claw, starring Zac Efron. We've all been, anybody familiar with the Von Erichs knows the story by now. We're not going to, revisit any of that, but we are going to be covering every name on the Von Erich family tree. So Leonard, rattle away that list.
Yeah, so of course, as mentioned, Fritz Von Erich is the patriarch of the family, and he had a kayfabe brother that he formed a tag team with, which was Waldo Von Erich. Then of the 6 boys, one, of course, died very young, but the other 5 wrestled at one point or another. You have David, Kevin, Kerry, Mike, and Chris. And then Kevin's the only one of the brothers still alive today at the time of this recording, and his 2 sons, Ross and Marshall, are both wrestling, have wrestled for TNA and MLW and some other companies. And Carrie's daughter, Lacey Von Erich, worked for TNA, was part of the Beautiful People there. Of the fake, and then there are several fake Von Erichs. Of the most famous is probably Lance Von Erich, who was a kayfabe cousin to the brothers, was said to be Waldo's son, and he was brought into world class in the mid-1980s when they were kind of short of Von Erichs. And people knew Lance was not a real Von Erich, and that really soured a lot of fans on them and on Lance himself. I did find in some of my research that Lance has an autobiography out there called The Chance to Be Lance, which, great title. I want to find it.
I'd be interested in reading that, providing it's not super long. But
yeah, maybe a pamphlet. Then we have Mark Von Erich. So after World Class folded, GWF, or Global Wrestling Federation, took over the Dallas area, and there was a angle where a manager, Skandar Akbar, I believe it was. I didn't write that down, but I believe it was Skandar Akbar, claimed that this guy, Mark Von Erich, was Fritz's illegitimate son. And they actually had permission to do that from Kevin, who worked with GWF some. Then there is Rip Von Erich, who is a kayfabe cousin to Marshall and Ross. Worked at one point as Kit Osborne. but he was brought into MLW to feud with them as an ally of Tom Lawler. So I threw Tom Lawler in here as an ally of Rip Von Erich. And you'll notice that a big story in World Class a lot of the times was very close allies, almost like a brother, as I do air quotes, turning on the Von Erich. So Chris Adams was a famous one who had a feud with Kevin, and of course the fabulous Freebirds, who was said to have been friends of Kerry, that Kerry brought in from Florida when he worked in Florida. So that's Michael Hayes, Terry Gordy, and Buddy Jack Roberts as the Freebirds. And then the last two, I stretched a little. I admit that.
Yeah, let's talk about one of them, Leonard. Go ahead.
Okay. So the Ultimate Warrior,
Yeah.
friend to Kerry Von Erich when they were in the WWF together, and there was, of course, rumors that Kerry played the Ultimate Warrior at different points between 1990 and 1992. There was always the rumor that the original guy died. There was, rumors that Kerry dressed up like the Warrior when he had bugged out due to, conflicts with Vince McMahon over money and such. And that had been, I think, dispelled by several different people, including Bruce Pritchard on his podcast.
Yeah.
What had happened is that when Warrior bugged out and he was, say, main eventing a show somewhere, Kerry replaced him on the card, but as Kerry, not dressed up as the Warrior. So that's where some of the confusion came from. And then finally, we have Baron von Raschke, who, like Fritz, worked a German militant type of gimmick, had Von in his name, and used the Iron Claw as a finisher. So other than the Von Erichs,
I'm more okay with Baron von Raschke than I am the
Ultimate Warrior. Well, I was trying to get the 20, so I got the 20.
Yeah.
So it's 10 each, 9 wrestling slots, 1 manager / valet. We'll go over the card when we get there. I've got the first pick this time because Chad had the first pick last time. And I think there's a few ways you could go here. But I want the total package. I want the guy who's the best look, the biggest name, probably the best worker and promo combo with everything else. I'm going to start with Kerry Von Erich.
Okay, so I figured that would be the number one, and I've been debating on which way to go because if I pick, there's one person I want to pick really badly, but if I don't pick that person, you might pick that person next. So I'm trying to pick 2-3 steps ahead.
All right.
So I'm just, you know what? I'm going to pick Terry Gordy.
I was going Terry Gordy.
Okay, so
100% going Terry Gordy. I almost said that there was a dark horse guy that could be number one because he's not a Von Erich.
Right.
Terry Gordy. Fantastic worker. And you go back when he first entered, he was 19 years old. Oh, see, good thing I didn't see that. That may tip me off. 19 years old and was wrestled, looked like he was 30 and wrestled like he was 30. Had been wrestling for 10 years. Yeah. Man, I was really hoping I could get Terry Gordy as well. But, I'm going to go with, I'll go with who's considered usually the best worker of the boys. I'll go Kevin Von Erich.
Ooh, interesting. Okay. You know what? I think I'm going to go with, I believe he was called the athlete of the family, if I'm not mistaken, at least at one point. I'm going to go with David Von Erich.
David Von Erich was also considered to be the best promo and have the best raw charisma of the boys. I probably would have went David next if you had not gone with David. The big thing is because he died kind of before the big explosion and before we started watching. I've gone back. I've watched some of David's stuff. David's very good.
And I know that, I should add some of my factoids.
Yes, go ahead.
Here, for Terry Gordy, he was an All Japan Triple Crown winner, WCW Tag Champions one time, Hall of Fame 2016, David Hall of Fame 2009. I'll just say the Von Erichs as a group won in 2009, so we don't have to keep repeating that. David won a lot of the WCCW titles, and of course, Kevin, NWA American Heavyweight Champion 5 times. And your number one was Kerry, who was, of course, the NWA World Champ 1 time and the IC Champ. one time.
Yes. And my next pick might surprise you as well, but I'm going to go with Chris Adams.
No, that doesn't surprise me because Chris Adams is an underrated worker. And yeah, there was a list of matches, Leonard, that I was going to I was going to try and watch some Von Erich matches. I did watch one between the Freebirds and I think Kevin, Carey,
David?
and Mike.
Oh, Mike. Okay, that would be one of the later ones.
It
Yeah.
was a no holds barred match that was pretty good. So because he's here, I'm gonna take the Ultimate Warrior.
I was going to wait you out on the Ultimate Warrior. I didn't really want the Ultimate Warrior. You know what? I'm going to take the old man. I'll take Fritz. I got an idea for him.
I think I'm gonna go with Mike Von Erich.
Mike Von Erich. Okay. That surprises me a little bit just because, Mike is not considered to be the tops of the boys, but hey.
He was
I'm not going to talk you out of it.
NWA and American Heavyweight Champion one time.
Mm-hmm. I am going to go with, since you have yet to pick up this guy, I'm going to take Michael Hayes. Did not know if you had any Freebirds plans, but you don't now.
No, you know what? I thought about it right there. I thought about it, but I'll just be honest with you. Like promo wise, he's very good. Mm-hmm. As a producer, obviously his tenure speaks for itself. He's been there forever. In ring, I don't think Michael Hayes is good in any way.
Oh, well, thanks for the tip off. I'll have to figure out how to use Mike Hayes then.
If I would have had to use him as a tag team if I picked him. Mm-hmm. But all right. So let's see here. I'm going to go with Baron von Raschke.
Okay, he was next on my list, but believe it or not, I think the Baron is, again, one of those guys that was kind of before our time. And when he was around in the the AWA, it was an older version of the guy. But since that's off the board, I'm gonna take Marshall Von Erich, one of Kevin's boys.
All right, I'm gonna go with Waldo Von Erich.
Waldo. I don't know a whole lot about Waldo. I always loved the name Waldo Von Erich because as a kid you think about Where's Waldo? That was the Waldo that we knew. Before you scoop me, I'll just go ahead and take Ross.
All right. We'll go with Buddy Jack Roberts.
Buddy Jack Roberts. Underrated. I watched some Freebird stuff, and he was sort of the glue that held them together because he was kind of the veteran. He had, both Michael Hayes and Terry Gordy, I think, started when they were still in their teens. And Buddy Jack was just kind of the guy that held them together. Of the names left, let's see here. Where do I want to go? You took Waldo. You know what? I'm going to take, because I have watched a little bit of him. I'm going to go ahead and take Lance Von Erich.
Illegitimate son, Mark.
Mark would have been my next pick. I've watched some GWF, and the thing that Mark has is some size on him. He's kind of a big dude. Mark would have been my next pick. I'll go ahead and take Tom Lawler here because I am at least familiar with Tom Lawler a little bit.
All right. I am going to pick Lacey.
I was going to take Lacey next. I think she would make a good valet.
Absolutely.
For anybody. So I would pick her next. So I guess I will take Tom Lawler's friend Rip Von Erich.
Who is left after Rip?
You got Chris.
Oh, Chris went last. Well, okay. I you know what? I probably would have picked him sooner. I forgot that he was there, to be honest, because we had picked all the other brothers.
Yes, he's the last brother. Of course, he was the one that was left out of the Iron Claw movie that they just deleted.
Yep.
So here's the teams. I have Kerry Von Erich, Kevin Von Erich, Chris Adams, Fritz Von Erich, Michael Hayes, Marshall Von Erich, Ross Von Erich, Lance Von Erich, Tom Lawler, and Rip Von Erich, while Chad has Terry Gordy, David Von Erich, The Ultimate Warrior, Mike Von Erich, Baron Von Raschke, Walter Von Erich, Buddy Jack Roberts, Mark Von Erich, Lacey Von Erich, and Chris Von Erich. A lot of those names are similar. Mike and Mark and Kerry and Kevin. So now we do the card. So the card is we've got how many matches I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. I always forget to make sure it's an uneven amount to see who wins, but who knows? We'll see how it shakes out. Every match is a title match, and these are all belts that were defended at one time or another in World Class Championship Wrestling. Probably my favorite, the World Class Middle Eastern Championship.
Yeah, I looked that one up. One person held that title.
Yes, it was. It was. I believe it was Mike on when they toured Israel, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Then we have the World Class Television Championship, which is a 1-versus-1. The World Class World Six-Man Championship is a 3-versus-3. The World Class Brass Knuckles Championship, which is no DQ, and you can use brass knuckles, which
right.
wasn't necessarily part of that title, but I threw it in there because why not? It's a brass knuckles title. Let's use brass knuckles. Then we have the World Class Texas Tag Team Championships, which is going to be a 2-on-2, and the World Class Texas Heavyweight Championship, which is a 1-on-1. All title matches, all big matches here for us. So, Chad, you get the first seed since I had the first pick. So, who do you want to go after the Middle Eastern Championship?
Gonna get Mark.
Mark Von Erich. You know what? Let's have fun. I'm going to give you the other fake Von Erich. I'm going to give you Lance.
Okay. All right. Well, as you said, Mark has the size, and has a more modern wrestling style, Leonard. So,
Yes.
that's all the evidence I got because I don't know much about Lance.
Right. Well, Mark again is an illegitimate son, so I don't know how they would play that if they would want Mark to lose. Although Lance is also a bastard cousin and had a lot of heat on him because of that. Lance was a very muscular guy. He had a body type similar to that of Kerry. He worked like a Von Erich. They taught him how to work like a Von Erich. So, and again, I watched some Global. And I like, and again, you just told me what I already told you. Mark has a little bit of size. It is an interesting angle.
You were really convincing, Leonard. That's why
I know. I kind of like where. I mean, both these guys, we're gonna throw them out there against, because the crowd is gonna hate them.
Well, here's what I'll tell you. I'm going to give this one. You said Lance, right?
I took Lance.
I'm going to give it to Lance simply because in my factoids that I jotted down, Mark didn't have anything that I could put down by his name. So, but Lance did. Lance was a WCWA TV champion one time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and he worked in the Pacific Northwest and was tag team champs up there with Billy. With Billy Jack Haynes.
So he's held gold. So we'll let him be the second ever Middle Eastern champion.
I think he should be. I love that. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Because I was almost going to concede just so we could move on. So thanks for conceding. All right. So you have the World Class Television. When I think television title, I'm thinking Chris Adams.
Chris Adams. All right. Well, you know what? I am going to give Chris Adams. I'm going to give him the Baron.
Baron von Raschke.
Baron von Raschke. An AWA tag champ and is not in the WWE Hall of Fame as far as I could tell, but he is in the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame as of 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Baron von Raschke is one of those characters that, and this is not necessarily evidence for him to win, although I think he could win. He's one of those characters that, like, his name kind of rises above any of the accomplishments that he might have in his career. Like, people just know his look and his character and what he does, right?
Right. He was in the AWA. That's where he's most known and familiar with. And like I said a little bit earlier, when we kind of got into it, the AWA was on their last legs. He was much older at that time. But again, he's known for using the claw. But Chris Adams, I would say, is a great all-around worker. And he can work as a babyface. He can work as a heel. He had great matches with Kevin in World Class. I even liked his run in WCW in the 1990s. Late, he had some good matches there, like on Saturday night. And like, he felt like when you say TV title, he feels like a guy at that level. Like, I think he could have had like that belt in WCW. He could have had the belt here. That's so true. I would strongly argue Adams winning just because I think he is the better worker, and my guess is he's probably going to be working babyface over Von Raschke. Like long term, Chris Adams feels like a guy that would have a run with a belt like this.
I mean, you're probably right. I mean, this is the Claw, Leonard, and we are in the Von Erich territory. How do you think that Chris Adams is going to top
The
Baron?
claw is a short range attack because you got to get on there. Chris Adams, super kick, long range attack.
You
The
can
Baron's
see
going to
Chris
walk
Adams,
into a super kick,
you can see Chris Adams super kicking Baron von Raschke.
kicking his head off.
Okay, all right. You know what? I'm in a giving mood, Leonard. So we'll
All
go with
right.
Chris Adams here.
All right. Okay, World Class Six-Man Championship. You get the seat first.
All right, Mike Von Erich,
Okay.
Chris Von Erich, and David Von Erich. Yeah.
Oh, Mike, Chris, and David.
Yeah.
See, I don't know if David ever worked with Mike and Chris because when he died,
That combination, I don't know.
I don't think that was ever a combo. I love the idea of David leading the younger brothers in the battle.
Yeah, I think that's it.
I like that a lot. I'm really freaking stuck. All right. We're gonna do something I don't want to do. We're gonna do something I don't want to do. I'm gonna give you Kevin, Marshall, and Ross.
Kevin, Marshall,
Kevin and his two sons.
Okay. Well, you know, so this would be a really fun match, I feel like. And I
think it
feel
would be excellent.
All parties involved would enjoy it. I think the weak links here, there's weak links on both sides. So you could argue many different ways with this. You could argue that Marshall and Ross cancel each other out, and Chris and Mike cancel each other out. Mm-hmm. And then it becomes basically a match between David and Kevin. Mm-hmm. Or you could say that Mike is good enough that, he doesn't kind of get himself canceled out because he did hold gold, although, the rumor was that he didn't really want to necessarily be a wrestler. You know what? I think that based on their youth and inexperience, Leonard, I have to go with David and the team that I listed here.
Right. Well, here's the thing. Mike and Chris are both very prone to injury. If you go back and you look, they both had tons of injuries. Mike had an injury that led to the end of his life.
Okay, well,
Chris did as well in ways.
That's true.
Marshall and Ross at this point have both been wrestling for quite a while and have accumulated gold, and I think are way better than Mike and Chris. Now, David. Now again, if you cancel out theory. And we got David versus Kevin. Kevin's the better worker, but I also think, from what I know, that
David's bigger. He wins this all day.
David's bigger. Kevin would defer to David as the older brother.
Yes.
So, because you gave me the first two, let me be in a generous mood, and I'll let you take this on the David versus Kevin argument.
Well, this would be a very even match. Let's just say that. And I think that there would be what a story this would be. In reality,
yeah,
Kevin and his kids versus three of his brothers.
Yeah,
that would be epic.
In the long-term fantasy booking fed I'm doing, a guy's running world class, and he's done that. He had Marshall and Ross, I think, against Kerry and Kevin, and did that mix.
I would love to ask Kevin, like, if these guys were in a match, who would you pick?
Yeah, show Kevin this card and see what he would say. I would be very interested in that. So now I get first pick for the Brass Knuckle Championship, and this was my plan for Fritz, the old man, the old grizzled veteran, is going pair of brass knuckles.
All right. Well, in that case, I think I actually wasn't going to do this. So let me just say first, the Brass Knuckles Championship. The person most notable for having that was Wild Bull Curry. He had 24 reigns, Leonard, as the Brass Knuckles Championship.
That's insane.
And yeah, he kind of defined that title. And I forgot to add the TV championship. Bill Irwin won that title 7 times, his longest reign, 181 days. But for the Brass Knuckles Championship, who else to go against Fritz?
Fritz.
Then his kayfabe brother, Waldo. It's going to be Waldo against Fritz. Waldo was you might not remember this, Leonard. He was
Okay.
a WWF U.S. Tag Team Championship with, oh my God. I think it was, don't quote me. I think it was Gene Kiniski.
With Gene Kiniski?
One time, yes. So he has held gold. Of course, Fritz was the NWA American Heavyweight Champion 14
Yes.
times, Leonard, which is just insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not a belt people remember, but still, that's a lot.
Right, right. So, well, and if we're saying this is world class, Fritz is the promoter. Fritz owns the frigging company.
Yeah.
Fritz is not
Okay. He'll probably win. Like,
yeah, Fritz is not jobbing to his fake brother.
Yeah.
He's gonna pound the crap out of him with a pair of brass knuckles.
He's gonna take a shot of whiskey in the back, and I'm gonna beat this guy's ass right now.
Right. The tag team titles. You get to seed first for the tag team titles.
All right. Let's see. So, looking at who I got left here.
Yeah.
I know who I got left here.
Yeah, it's weird. It's some weird shit you got left.
Yeah, it is some weird stuff. I knew mine. I knew before we started this, Leonard, that my draft was going to probably be weird. And do I go with the obvious match, or do I go with the match that's more fun for the main event? I'm going to go with the match that's more fun for the main event. So for the tag titles, you're getting Terry Gordy and Buddy Jack Roberts.
All right. Terry Gordy, Buddy Jack Roberts. And so I think I'm stuck with giving you Tom Lawler and Rip Von Erich, and I'm going to use Michael Hayes as their manager.
Michael Hayes is their manager.
Michael Hayes is the manager.
You know what? I'm just going to say this, Leonard. I don't think there's any alternate universe where Michael Hayes does anything to hurt Terry Gordy.
No, that is true. So, well, I mean, you do have a storyline here.
Sure.
Gordy and Roberts turfs Michael Hayes, and then Michael goes and gets Tom Lawler and Rip Von Erich to get revenge.
And what a revenge that would be
for him.
I did not remember who you had left, and I thought you were going to throw some great tag team at me.
Nope. Well, the original plan was to use Marshall and Ross here.
Yeah.
But then if I used Lawler and Rip, who do I put them with for the 6-man? So
right.
I was kind of stuck. I'll tell you this, in that long-term Birking Fed that I'm doing, I'm running a version of Smoky Mountain Wrestling. And I had Michael Hayes and Jimmy Garvin version of the Freebirds. Well, I was able to pick up some guys, and I had Michael Hayes turn on Jimmy Garvin and align himself with Buddy Jack Roberts and Freebird with Bad Street Brad Armstrong.
Okay.
Because Brad Armstrong was underneath the Bad Street hood. So they beat up Jimmy Garvin. So Jimmy Garvin goes and he aligns with his brother Ronnie Garvin, who had been tagging with Tommy Rich. But here is what I'm going to do. I haven't done this yet. This is an exclusive. So I'm going to have the Freebirds break Tommy Rich's leg. And they're going to cause Ronnie Garvin to have visa problems because he's from Canada.
Okay. And
then Jimmy Garvin needs new partners. And he's going to bring in Terry Gordy and Dr. Death Steve Williams.
I mean, that would be pretty good.
Because I picked them up in a draft. They had a dispersal draft, so I managed to pick up the Miracle Violence Connection.
One of my favorite tag teams.
Yes. So anyway, I went on. But we know what the main event's going to be.
Are we assuming that Terry and Buddy Jack Roberts won this match?
Oh, yeah. I'm not even going to argue that at all.
All right, so the main event. Go ahead, Leonard.
I go first. So it's Terry Von Erich.
And you will get Ultimate Warrior with Lacey Von Erich.
Is Warrior? What's the relationship between Warrior and Lacey?
Let's just say a valet.
Okay. I didn't know if you were gonna.
By all accounts, the Warrior Jim Hellwig was a very happily married man, despite the fact that all of his coworkers were not really fans. So
yeah. I don't. I think it has a little spice if it's the Warrior is the
storyline here is you took my place and you shouldn't have, and people thought that you played me, and now I want revenge.
Yeah. Um,
Story
well,
writes itself, Leonard.
it does. It does. I'll let you argue first. Go for it.
Well, you know where I would probably go with this.
Yeah.
The Warrior is, of course, a WWF champ, and he was obviously an icon and still is, in many circles. The Warrior was never the best in-ring guy. I would say Kerry's the better in-ring worker for
Mhm.
sure. Kerry has worked with Ric Flair and got to the NWA heavyweight title. These guys are both now in WWF. Kerry would never beat the Warrior,
Mhm.
but we're not in the WWF here. We are in, I don't know, a fantasy Von Erich.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would guess. I mean, these are all world-class titles being defended,
Right.
so I assume we
It's
are in the
yeah.
Dallas Sportatorium in some sort of alternate universe.
So you know what? I mean, to me, I think the storyline of this would be the best part of it. But if we're going it based on Von Erichs, like we can't send the Von Erich the WCCW championship home with the Ultimate Warrior.
Yes, correct. And considering you've got the Warrior working heel more or less, you're not going
Yeah,
to send the fans home sad by
and you can
having
see
Kerry.
Lacey turning on the Warrior for sure.
Probably, yeah, yeah. So I wanted to hear what your argument was going to be for Warrior, because because I figured it was going to be, well, he's the bigger name and he's the
That's
more,
the only thing. That's it.
yeah, he's the bigger name, he's the more famous talent. But again, where we're at and what we're doing here really sizes to Kerry, and I think considering everything, Warrior would be happy to job to Kerry in Dallas and
I don't know if the
pay off
Warrior
this
was happy to
story.
job to anybody.
Well, we're not happy, but I think he could be persuaded. I think if Kevin could get Fritz to open the checkbook, maybe.
Yeah. All right. Well, so that Leonard, I believe that puts you as the winner, right?
4-2.
All right. All right. Well, congrats to Leonard. Leonard, I have a quick trivia question for you.
Hit me.
A couple I'll do, see if we have time for two. So, how many of the Von Erich sons were born in Texas?
Ooh, I'm going to go with probably the younger two. So two, Mike and Chris.
Four of them were born in Texas.
Okay.
Evan was born in Illinois. Carrie was born in New York.
Okay, I figured the older kids might have been born when Fritz was still touring.
Yeah, well, that's why those two weren't born in Texas, because
Okay.
Fritz was all over the place. So Carrie was chosen as an alternate for the 1980 U.S. Olympic team. Do you remember the event that he qualified for, Leonard?
I'm guessing it's probably not wrestling. Was it like weightlifting?
I'm going to give you a clue here, Leonard.
Uh-huh.
Picture his finishing move.
Was it like shot put
Close.
or javelin?
Close.
Something where he needs to throw something with his hand.
The discus.
Discus. I was in the ballpark.
That's yeah.
Did they mention that in the Iron Claw movie? Wasn't that mentioned?
I think they did mention that.
Yeah, yeah.
And who was it? Carrie and Kevin. Who were the Cosmic Cowboys? That's a great name.
That is a great name. I'd have to look that up. That
the combinations of them were when they were tag team, when they were called the Cosmic Cowboys. In any event, let us know what you thought of our Von Erich Unstable Stables and how our teams ironed out. My draft was not good this time, but that's okay.
That happens. I've had some crappy drafts too. We'll see. Again, we got one more family tree we're going to go over, and it is a very interesting one with some really good names.
And I get to pick first. So
you get to pick first. So I think I know where you're going already, but maybe you'll surprise me.
Anyway, let us know what you thought of this. Comment however you see fit. And check out our other episodes and our other videos, rebooks, and we're available wherever you listen to podcasts. For Leonard, my name is Chad, and we will see you next time.